Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jeff Vaughn.
And I'm Lena Wynn. It is likely the most anticipated meeting with the foreign leader during the Trump presidency.
That's right. President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will meet face-to-face later on this week. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan has a preview of that. Dave?
It's going to be interesting to see how the president makes the transition from domestic tweet wars to international crises. This may well be the most important week of President Trump's administration in terms of dealing with international hotspots and growing tensions. So after tomorrow's 4th of July celebrations, the president will be heading to Europe, where, among other things, he'll be meeting one-on-one with Putin and other key figures. With a wave, President Trump arrived back in the Washington, D.C. area Monday evening to prepare for a hectic week ahead, packed with important events. On the 4th, he'll host military families. On Wednesday, he leaves for Europe, where he'll stop in Poland on Thursday, and Friday and Saturday he'll attend the G20 summit in Germany. The headline at the summit may well be President Trump's meeting face-to-face with Russian President Vladimir Putin for the first time. Administration officials say among the topics for discussion will be the conflict in Syria and the growing tensions in Ukraine. But it's not clear whether the president will make reference to the 800-pound gorilla in the room, Russia's meddling in the U.S. presidential election.
I have very little confidence that the president will bring up the Russian attack on our voting system last November.
In what could be the most important meeting of President Trump with a foreign leader since he took office, the Russians have their issues too. Monday, Russia declared it's running out of patience, waiting for the president to return 2 embassy compounds seized by the U.S. in December in retaliation for the election meddling. In December, the Obama administration expelled 35 Russian diplomats and closed down the compounds on the East Coast. Hancock Park Representative Karen Bass told CNN Monday she's not sure whether President Trump will even raise the election meddling issue with Putin.
He's still in denial about it, but I know that we'll know, because when the meeting is over, if he leaves the meeting and he is essentially repeating Putin's talking points, and if he concedes and gives back the compounds, then we will know. We will know whether or not Putin once again played President Trump.
Over the weekend, the president prepared for the upcoming G20 summit by having phone conversations with several foreign leaders, including Chinese President Xi Jinping and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. They're expected to focus on the threat from North Korea. And the summit also comes at a time when tensions are rising some between the U.S. and China. That country charges a U.S. naval warship was trespassing in its waters when it passed just 12 miles from a small island in the South China Sea on Sunday. The U.S. disputes China claims to the area and has accused the Chinese government of building a military airstrip on one of its man-made islands. China's foreign ministry accused the U.S. of a serious political and military provocation. It's the second time since President Trump took office that a U.S. ship has passed close to the islands, and it comes just a few days after the U.S. acknowledged a $1.4 billion arms deal with Taiwan, which you can probably imagine how much China liked hearing that. And the president is frustrated that China hasn't put more pressure on North Korea to abandon or at least curb its weapons program. And the very cordial relationship the presidents seemed to develop during their meeting in Florida last spring now appears to be slipping away quickly into frustration and tension. In fact, last week, the Trump administration imposed sanctions on a Chinese bank, which it accused of helping fund North Korea's provocative activities. The most recent signal that the Trump-Xi honeymoon is not going so well these days.
So, Dave, clearly the North Korean missile launches are ramping international tensions, and we understand there have been some late developments tonight. Can you tell us about that?
Well, there have been, actually, and this could affect the conference coming up later this week as well. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be any common ground between North Korea, the U.S., and China on the missile launching issue, as we mentioned in the report, so it's very difficult to see where exactly it is heading. In fact, just a few hours ago, it was reported that North Korea had launched another ballistic missile on Tuesday morning, which fell into the Sea of Japan within Japan's territorial waters. The launch is believed to be part of North Korea's series of test firings in recent months as that country works to perfect a nuclear-tipped missile that could reach the U.S. President Trump, a couple of hours ago, fired off a tweet about tonight's launch. North Korea has just launched another missile, he tweeted. Does this guy have anything better to do with his life? Hard to believe that South Korea and Japan will put up with this much longer. Perhaps China will put a heavy move on North Korea and end this nonsense once and for all. All of this, of course, raises the ante for President Trump's meeting this week with the Chinese president. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, Dave. Thank you so much.